one. In this tutorial we are covering include and require. This is the PHP series. I have created some tutorials before, but you don't need to have watched them. So if you haven't watched the previous tutorials, you don't need to. But if you want to, if you're a very beginner, I would suggest you to do, watch these tutorials. So now we are going to the beginning of this document. We are going to open PHP tags, and we are going to say include test PHP, and we're going to refresh, and then we get failed to open stream, no such file or directory. Include is going to include a file, basically include the content of the file, so the whole file. And require is going to do the same, but it's more strict. Now I have created just a simple navigation file here, nothing special, a list with list items inside. So what I'm gonna do in the index, I'm gonna say .php. You don't need to create this file, you can create your own files. So I just did it to save some time. So we have home and contact. And what include does, it takes this file, it's including all the content of this file. So the code, it could be just text, it could be like anything. It could be PHP. So everything I put here is included in my index, this file here. So let's delete this. Now you'll say, why should I use this? You should use this because, for example, the navigation, the footer, you maybe not want to have these in the same file, because that can be a very, very long file if you have everything in one. So you want to split them into small files and include them, so to make the project more organized. For example, there are other reasons also. And now the difference with include once is it's working the same, right? But if I do include nav.php, by the way, you can also use parentheses. So if I were to include here, it's still including once, right? But I have like two includes. So basically what the include once does is it checks if it's already included. If it is included, it will not include it. Otherwise it will. And that's good, because if you don't want to include this too many times, sometimes it depends on what you're doing. Now if I do include 2 times, it's going to run 2 times. But the third one is not going to run because it's going to check. So that's the difference, If you use just include, then it's going to include. It doesn't matter if it's included or not before. And it's the same thing with require. It's exactly the same thing. Both are the same, kind of the same. Now the difference is, if I do include nav.php, and if I do nav2php, or actually if the file does not exist, so if I say nav2php, I'm going to get this warning, right? Like we saw before, that the file does not exist in this directory. It makes sense. Nav2 does not exist here. But the form is running here, so this code the code continues running, you see here. So the difference is that they include, even if the file does not exist, it's going to give me a warning, but it's going to continue running. The difference now, if I do require nav2php, is that this is not going to run. So I will get warning first, and then I will get fatal error, and that makes sense, because if there's a fatal error, the script will die. It will not continue running. So that's the difference. And require is more strict, and you can also use it like this. So yeah, that's basically it. Require and require once also. So, and we can of course include in many places. So actually now we don't want to require once and require, just require once is enough. And I can do the same in the end here. That's why I just created a footer. Nothing special, you know, copyrighted test. You can write your own stuff. So I can go in the end of this index document here, and I can say include, or actually we're going to use require once, because we only want the footer one time, right? We don't want too many, the same footer included multiple times. So there I have my navigation. Here I have my footer. I have like included these files. When I say include, then you see require. It's basically the same thing. It's just require is also an include, but it's more strict. So the navigation is here, the footer is here, and here goes my content. And you can also put all this file, all this thing here, all this code in another file and include it. So I could also do the form PHP include once form PHP. So I can go new file, form PHP, and I can just paste that. So if I refresh, it's going to be the same. So look, it gets more organized, right? You see how much organized it's now compared to before, and I can just see the form is included here. I can just go to the form and I can change stuff here. That's it. I hope you like this tutorial. Take care and have a nice day. Bye bye.